Hey guys, it's Neodyinamite and welcome back to Anno 1800. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another guide of how to put a layout on a production chain in Anno 1800. Just so you're gonna know, this is a layout, a basic layout. We're gonna probably try to do bread today. This is the basic layout, which means that this layout is not gonna take into the account the trade union building. If you don't know the trade union building, basically if you have ever played the Anno game, you know that in the previous Anno games, if you had your harbor, basically there was like this thing that you had like 3 cards. You could try to put 3 different cards into the harbor, and those cards affected the entirety of the islands. Sometimes it was like more money, sometimes it was more citizenship, so that you could try to promote more citizens. Sometimes that was customs, so basically whatever you traded something to the port, when you actually sold something or bought something from a natural trader, then you received like a bunch of other goods as well, and so on and so forth. In this Anno, the things have changed. The harbor does no longer have those cards that you can just try to put. Instead of that, you have a thing called the trade unions. Then you have the town hall, which is of course affecting the houses, and then you have the thing called the harbor master office, which is basically the same thing, just affects the buildings in the harbor itself. So for example, I have here in the harbor's office a guy who reduces the maintenance of my shipyards, and also just to give you like an idea how powerful those guys are, I have here a trade union. And this trade union has a person who reduces the maintenance of my potato farms by 75. So basically my potato farm at the moment cost me $4 to maintain, while if I don't have this thing affected, it's 19. So I hope you get the idea of how powerful the trade union building is. So this is the basic layout, no trade union building involved. Keep that in mind. I kind of recommend that you will use those layouts at the beginning when you actually like start to develop your first islands, or you just want to aim for a little bit of efficiency. That's fine. If you want to just put things around randomly, that's also fine. That's your game. How you're gonna play it is completely up to you. Now we're gonna start simple as always. However, unlike the other layouts that I have done, this layout is not taking into account the warehouse. So basically this is richly a layout without the warehouse, so keep that thing in mind for the future notice. Also, I've said this thing before and I'll say it once again, if you'll be setting like layouts such as this one, I highly recommend that you're gonna flip this switch over here, which basically will activate the blueprint mode, which will give you the possibility to just put like a shadow of a building, so you can then try to design like a production line, factory area, or even the housing area, and then actually build it once you're happy with the results. So this way you won't waste resources, you won't waste money, maintenance, yada yada, stuff like that. So as usual, when it comes to making layouts, I highly recommend that you start from a corner, you know, because this thing just makes your life a little bit easier. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna try to do the bread production line. Now, to put a farm, of course in the blueprint mode, actually I'm gonna move it a little bit further down, so I'm gonna have more space. You select the farm, you go into the building mode, and now we have to set up actually the farming area. This layout should provide you with 2 bread per minute and takes around 403 tiles. It takes you so much because of the farms, obviously. So this is how it goes. You need to start by building the farm, of course, and you need to have to put 2 tiles of fields over here, right? You fill this thing as it is over here. Then you make 1 layer of fields over here, and then this is the harder part, because now you have to design the rest of the field. So if I understand this thing correctly, this takes more or less 7. So I need to go to 17. If you want to help with counting in the lower right section of the screen, the game basically tells you how many fields you have already put, so it's very helpful. So this one is standing very nicely. Now, the route will go here. We also need to put farm fields over here. Then we're gonna try to make the space for the bakery itself. So we need to leave 3. After that, you have to go 4 to the side, as such. So you're gonna have 5 in total. And from this, you want to go 4 up once again. Alright? Got it? Good. Now you just have to fill this thing with fields. As such. And if you did it right, unlike me, I didn't do right. Hold on a second. Did I screw something? I think I made 1 layer too high. I think I made 5 instead of like making... Probably I did. Yeah, I made 5 instead of making 4. Sorry about that. So you fill up this thing. There you go. 144 tiles. Now, you grab the farm building and you move the entirety of the field to the side over here. As such. Good? Good. Now, grab the mill, rotate it, and put it over here. And as I said, you have to squeeze the bakeries over here. So basically, this is how it works. 2 farms are able to supply the windmill with necessary resources, and then that 1 windmill is enough to supply 2 bakeries with food. Well, with resources necessary to make food. So now you just have to mirror the same thing as you did with another farm on the opposite side of this, right? So just to give you like an idea, I'm gonna make like a road. As is over here. Okay, I actually need to move it to the side a little bit more. There you go. Okay, rotate this thing. I mean, make more roads. Then you surround this thing with more roads. As such. Over here and over here. And now you just have to fill this thing with fields. I forgot to make a road over here. There you go. And now you make yourself a really beautiful, beautiful field. 144 without problem. There you go. So basic layout for the making bread is ready. Now, if you wonder, okay, I've built this thing, so how do I actually build this thing? Because this is still a blueprint. Yeah, that's actually quite easy. You just click the upgrade button over here, and then you have to click on the buildings that you want to build. There you go. Of course, you need to give the farm a little bit of time. However, oh yeah, I actually built the farms on a on an island where I cannot grow grain. Oh well. But still, this thing works the way it's supposed to work. Alright, so now it's time to actually swing to another layout that we have over here. Okay, this layout is a little bit bigger, but it also provides you with 2 bread per minute. It takes around 384 tiles. You probably like wonder why the hell this thing is less. It's because it doesn't have the roads. The roads are not taken into the account. Because you basically connect this thing like directly to the network. You can also do this thing without the frame of the road. This is just to, you know, make the transportation a little bit easier, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. So, as usual, we start like from the corner over here, and we're gonna start as we did the previous one. We're gonna go to the workers, and we're gonna go to the bread. Now, we're gonna try to do this thing as before. So we start with the farm, and now we need to do 6 tiles to the side. Remember that the game will count for you on the bottom right side of the screen how many like farm times you have already put. Now you build the bakery up here, then you build the windmill over here, then you have to build another bakery over here, and of course another farm over here. The difference between this one and this one when it comes to the layout is that this one has its own warehouse, so the transportation of resources is a little bit easier. Basically this one warehouse should easily, very easily be able to get all of the resources from all of those production buildings. So let's put this thing actually into action. I'm gonna have to like rotate this thing a tiny bit, but that's okay, no problem. We're gonna do this thing. I just need to take the proper measurements. Okay, you go over here, and you go. Actually, screw it. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Captain. I'm kinda busy right now, but oh, I've built a house by mistake. It's because the captain grabbed my attention. He always does that, man. He always does that. So now, just to make this thing really perfect, you want to go to the warehouse, and from the warehouse you need to go once again 6 tiles up. So 3 over here and 3 over here. Now just fill this thing up nicely with grain, and you need to add the last remaining tiles over here as such, right? So we have 144 tiles of grain placed. Now we go to this farm and you do exactly the same thing. So 3 here, then 1 and 2 to make 5 in total, and then you just fill this thing to match the height of this one, and you should have 144 tiles of grain, no problem. And now just build. There we go. Another layout is ready. Oh, Forgot about the windmill. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to initiate the final layout of the bread production. The layout that basically is gonna give you tons of bread. Basically 4 bread per minute, ladies and gentlemen. 756 tiles this thing will take, this monstrosity. I'm using this monstrosity myself, actually, if you're gonna see over here. Those are my farms responsible for the bread production, but as you can see over here, I have used those 2 layouts over here. Those are exactly the same layouts that I'm about to build very soon for you. And as you can see, I am making currently enough bread. I'm sitting on around 218, and I'm using also this bread to supply my expeditions. I'm actually making a little bit more than I am using. A little bit, just enough to refill this thing almost to full before I send my ships once again on a new expedition. And this bread is capable of supplying a city of this size. Just remember that, of course, the farmers, they don't eat bread. The bread is actually used first by the workers. So the workers and then the artisans are using the bread, and this thing actually provides you with a very, very nice income. So I highly recommend that you actually gonna try to get yourself some nice, tasty, fresh bread. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen. So just keep in mind that, as usual, this thing is not using the trade union. And just to give you an example, because I found one guy who can work in the trade union, is this guy. He affects the grain farms, the red pepper farms, and vineyard. It increases production by 50% and increases the number of fields that you can build by additional 25. So just to give you an idea of this, my farm at the moment is working on 120% of efficiency, and I have a new limit of 180 tiles to build, while the normal farm, which is, for example, this thing over here, has 100%. Yeah, that is true, but only 144 tiles. So yeah, the trade union, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a very, very powerful tool. Now, without further ado, let's get into some building. Let's get into some nice, tasty building. So as usual, activate the blueprint mode, and we're gonna start by placing the farm, and we need to set up the layout first. Actually, just to make this thing a little bit easier, I think I'm gonna rotate this thing like this. Yeah, this thing actually should go easier from this side if I'm gonna start. Alright, so let's get into building. Rotate the farm as such, place it somewhere, and now we need to actually start counting the fields. So you want to go 4 to the side as such, and then you want to go actually like really a lot down. But you know, to make this things a little bit easier, I think it would be just fine if you're gonna start from the top, finish the top, and then go down. So from the top, you have to add 2 over here, and then finish those remaining 4 to finish the let's say the length of the field. Now skip 1 field and continue this thing over here. There you go, as such. Now next to this thing, you'll be placing a bakery. So place the bakery over here, and just to have a basic idea how this layout will look, you have to surround the bakery with fields. After you pass the bakery, you put 3 tiles, you put 3 tiles over here, and then you just fill the rest. And this should give you exactly 100. Oh, hold on, I forgot to put tiles over here, I believe. Yeah, exactly that. 144 tiles have been made. So you grab this thing, you put it in the corner. As such, you put the bakery back over here. Now, build yourself a windmill over here, another grain farm above it. Then next to it, you have to build a bakery. Now you have to build the warehouse, which is gonna be standing more or less over here. Now the opposite side of this, once again, you go with the bakery, stand over here. Then you place the grain farm over here, another windmill over here, another grain farm, because as you know, 2 grain farms go for 1 windmill. So you place it over here. You have to skip 1 tile from the windmill, right? So like the windmill is over here, you have to move it 1 tile to the side, as such, and then you fill the hole with another bakery, the final bakery, as such, and your field is basically ready. The only thing you need to do at the moment is just fill this thing nicely with grain farms, of course. So you do 1 over here, as such, And then you just have to fill the remaining one with more filled tiles. So you go all the way up just to have 144. You finish this one, you grab then the other grain farm that you have over here, and of course you have to do the same thing. So 4 to the side, actually 5, then 4 over side to here, and then you fill the remaining space with more tasty fresh grain. You just have to put a bit of farm fields over there and finish it off over here. So now we end up with 144 tiles, and of course the remaining one, just to make things easier, I'm gonna quickly make a road as such. Oh wait, forgot about roads over here. Make a road over here just to connect the warehouse to the harbor. Remember that this is the thing, you need to connect the harbor to all of the warehouses by actual like a road, otherwise they won't work. And you fill up this thing with more tiles. 144 tiles of grain. Beautiful. Beautiful. I can almost smell the grain. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as a bonus, I'm gonna give you also a layout for the beer, because at the moment there's like only one layout for the actual like beer. So I hope you're gonna find this thing useful in the end. So basically, the beer layout is a little bit different because you have to use, of course, the grain, then you have the malt house, then you have the hop farm, and then in the end you have the brewery. This layout should be able to supply 2 breweries, and if I understand this thing correctly, the production is more or less 2 beer per minute. So I think I'm using 3 of those. Yeah, I'm using 3 of those. The only difference is that I'm actually growing hop over here, because on my main island that is richly impossible. The hop just doesn't grow over there. So you put the crop. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, I put it one too many. You place the hop farm, and you start with, of course, the fields. So you go 2 tiles to the side, then you fill the small box over here by placing 4 by 4. So 2, 3, 4, as such over here. Now grab this thing and put it in the corner. Always we go for the corner, like to make things a bit easier. You place the brewery over here, you place the malt house over here, just remember to rotate it. Then you have to build 2 additional grain farms. You have to move them 2 tiles as the malt house will end. So 2 tiles over here, 1 above them as well. Then another brewery over here. And then next to it, you have to build a hop farm as such, and then the final hop farm will go over here. And you fill the remaining spot with a nice, good warehouse, just so the warehouse can maintain the delivery and receiving the goods. Now, the only thing you need to do, the final thing you need to do, is just finish the farms. So, from the grain farm over here, you need to go 3 tiles as such, and fill the down of it as such. Now, you're probably like wondering, you're not gonna fill those fields with grain, right? You're gonna run out of space. Not exactly, ladies and gentlemen. I think we can actually like manage this thing. What you're gonna do is that you're gonna extend this thing over here, and then you leave this track over here for this other farm. And then you have all this open space over here. So just so you know where exactly that thing is gonna go, we're gonna start with filling this one over here nicely, and you of course need to do this hop farm as well in the meantime. Now, to count this thing perfectly, you need to use this hop farm as your measurement, right? So you grab the hop farm, you order it to build the hop fields, and then you go from here and you go 24 tiles up. The game is counting this thing for you, so that's why I'm using this specific farm, so I know exactly where I need to end this thing. Now, you actually need to continue this thing with the grain fields. Oh, wait, wrong farm. Continue this thing with the grain fields, so you're gonna end up more or less on the same height. So this should go over here as such, and now it actually 1 tile away, and you fill this thing with grain as such. Then you grab the other grain farm and you fill the remaining space with more grain as such. 2 tiles over here, actually 3 tiles.
Workforce shortage.
3 tiles over here, and the remaining tiles go over here as such. Now, grab once again this hop farm and continue doing the hops as such. Remember that this thing needs to end over here. like this, and then you grab this hop farm and you fill the remaining space with the last missing one. I think I'm actually... Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Sorry. As such. There you go. The hop farms are now ready. So this hop farm has its fields over here, 96 tiles. This hop farm has its tiles over here. Yes, I know, it's a little bit of a mess, but thankfully the game attaches the same fields together, so it actually looks like a one gigantic field, so makes this game really beautiful. 96 tiles as well, and the final hop farm, 96 tiles as well. So the only thing remaining is just to build the stuff and enjoy yourself a nice, fresh beer production, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly like that. Now, unlike like the distillery, this thing does not explode actually that often, so you're safe. You actually need to take a closer attention to the distilleries that are making the alcohol out of potatoes, because those things really like to explode. Those things, not so much. So you should be safe without actually building a fire station so close. Like you can, of course, put one just to be sure, but you don't need to literally put it next to the layout. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the basic layout for the grain farms to make full chain production of bread and one full chain production of beer. As I said, keep in mind that this thing is not using the labor house. I forgot its name. The trade union house. Of course, with the trade union house, this thing should be even more efficient. Maybe in the future, once we actually know all of the characters that are available in Anno, we will be able to design more efficient layouts for the farms. Probably, as I said, you will have to build an area that is solely designed to get grain, that is attached to a trade union house that has modifications only for the grain production, and then in a different part of the city, you're gonna probably try to build distilleries or bread that also will have its very own trade union building with specified personnel. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's really late. My voice is basically dying, so yes. So basically, I'm gonna leave this thing as always. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked the episode, please subscribe a lot. See you all in the next video.